So after the kind of success of these images from week 10, I wanted to even go further with this. Originally there was like 4 cameras max to my series, but now I wanted to do at least 5 to 10. I managed to get hold of 7 cameras from friends that were very generous with letting me use their cameras, which was great. And then I kind of got a few more transmitters. And so week 11 involved me going to a few different public areas. There was Hawthorne Station, the Swan Street Bridge, and kind of more of the South Bank area. And then also my friend Fran, I was staying at hers for a few days, and I took a few portraits of her and her partner doing just kind of like, more moody stuff. And so I was kind of doing both photojournalism and portraiture work. Found that with Fran's stuff, it was still a really cool style, but because I'm exploring photojournalism at the moment, it was kind of, I'm just going to sideline that for the moment, but it's definitely an area that I would love to continue further and do other genres in this kind of style. But I found that, so week 11's like city stuff was quite good for me because I had this like just time to like really map where the cameras are going to be placed and make sure that they're kind of still pointing at the same thing, or at least there's that punctum link, coming about. And it was quite nice to have this like long bridge that had one end of the bridge to the other. So you basically get a chain of images going from one end to the other. And there were some images that had a really nice connective link to it, which was good. Hawthorne Station was also really fun because there's this really cool walkway that has a very, it's a very cinematic and compositionally interesting point of views that I could go with. And so the sequences of images were quite interesting in using directing lines, like one-point lines and point of like one-point perspective, like Stanley Kubrick kind of thing. And I was like looking for people kind of running after the train because they're obviously going to be running, and so their body will be very uniquely placed. And with the combination of those 3 camera angles, it was still like it was just a very interesting kind of sequencing of images. And then the last thing, I found this busker kind of guy who was just chilling in South Bank, and he was like kicking balls, and I put 6 cameras around him, and then from different focal lengths, heights, as he's kicking the balls. And that was really cool because, when a ball's up in the air and he's looking, it's a very unique position of place that this guy's in. And so when you show it from different point of views, I wanted to do that. And then what I did with this series as well, with this week, is that I really wanted to kind of focus on this like omniscient, objective point of view where there's no implication of some sort of photography involved to it. It's almost like there's this third eye looking down on us as a viewer, as a person. And so I purposely, especially in the soccer one, I digitally removed the cameras out from each scene so that you look at all these angles and you'll be like, wait, how's this camera this way and how's that camera that way? But there's no cameras involved. And it adds to that kind of feeling of like, oh, this feels like kind of alien and a bit like, it's a bit eerie to see that there's no cameras involved and who is looking at us, right? And I think that's a really powerful tool to use, and something that inspired me to use that was Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest. It's about the Holocaust, where the family lives near Auschwitz, and the way he shot the film was basically he set up all these cameras in this house and he just kind of let them run while the actors kind of did their thing. And that's this kind of really eerie, surveillant point of view where we're voyeuring on this family, being complicit in these atrocities, and these cameras are just there, not really having any sort of statement or designation of intent with what they want to address. And then Jonathan Glazer digitally removed all the cameras in post to further feel like this third presence. And with that idea, it would be really interesting to explore this further with this kind of concept of putting cameras around in a house, have like a party or something, and at very random moments just capture the whole house ongoing. And then, because there'd be so many people, it would be a great source of getting those punctum links together where you are really just showing the same moment of time. Like you could still have a person above in the third floor and then a person on the first floor, but based off like different angles of the hallway and the kitchen, there's always this like little, ever-changing link that will always reaffirm that this is the same moment of time. So when you see the first floor and the third floor images, if you saw them back to back, then yeah, it would be not clear. But then if you follow this chain, you're like, oh wow, okay, that is the same point of time. And that's very weird to see that I'm seeing the world in one level of a floor and then the other. And the zone of interest was really inspiring. But yeah, so moving forward with this, so we're going into week 12, or we are in week 12, moving to the end. I'm just going to continue pushing the camera limits. I'm thinking of doing 12 cameras along a 4-way intersection, so one pointing at the other edge of the intersection, and then 2 on the side showing the walkways. And so there'll be 12 cameras showing a full circular view of a certain intersection. And yeah, so that's me at the moment, and very, very excited to